Darren, in the past you've said that at the start of seasons it was a little bit too much to have games every midweek, and this week you've not had no. Has that been a good or a bad thing, given especially when you're just coming off the back of a loss? Would you have liked to have had a game this week?
We did last night.
For the Premier Cup?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know, I really like the way I feel about those games. Terry always says to me, why'd you do those games? No other manager does those games. Well, at some point I'm not going to be manager at Yeovil, and at some point I might not be manager anywhere or coaching anywhere, and I'm going to be desperate for a game, and I'm going to sit behind someone watching and observing in whatever fashion, and I'm going to be thinking, when am I next going to get back in the dugout? So I want to do every game. And I really enjoyed last night. I very much enjoyed it. It was obviously a lovely, wonderful moment for Terry, who's had a really tough week, you know, personally. You know, I thought that was a lovely moment for him to see his son score, and Finn fully deserved it. I can tell everyone now, no one gets a game because of their surname. They get a game because they might help us win, and he certainly did that. So that was nice for Terry. But I thought it was important last night that we got some minutes in, you know, so some legs. I mean, Morgan's played one 90-minute game in something like 8 months, something silly like that. So I thought it was important there was some games. I wanted to get Max back out there and for him to practice because of our smaller squad. The opportunity to actually practice in training is reduced because we don't have the numbers. So I just thought that was a better environment for Max to carry on practicing. It was great, really good to see Robinson play. We still need to push him physically, I think, still. Max Evans deserves a game, and Addy needed minutes, Sonny needed minutes, Worthington, of course, from his suspension needed minutes, Bradley. So it was really enjoyable to watch, you know, what they contributed to it and maybe what they can contribute to us Saturday and after that. So no, I thought it was good, and you know, we'll carry on doing the games properly because I think it's only right that you show, you know, as long as you've got enough players, I think it's right that you show not respect to the competition but respect to the football club.
Yeah, and Finn Skiverton, is he one off the old block?
He's nothing like his dad. He's quite a shy and retiring, quite a reserved chap. He's a lovely kid, or young man, shall I say? But I've seen him play so many times, and he's had some non-league experience at Street and other clubs, and I've gone to watch him play with Terry, and he has got a knack. He's got an intuition of where to be. I think he had the two best chances of the game in the last 15 minutes, and you've got to credit someone for knowing how to get there, and I thought he did that. I wasn't too impressed with his how he has a map of the pitch and where he knows where to be out of possession, but for a centre forward that needs to be the last detail rather than the first. So but it was just nice. It was just I'm a father, and you know, it was a proud moment for Terry and his family, and I was really pleased that I was there to share it with him.
Yeah, and now of course you turn back to National League at the weekends. What sort of a game are you expecting from Boreham?
Well, Luke, first of all, and I don't think I said this at the time, but the last time we saw Luke was the first game back, or Boreham Wood, sorry, and Luke was the first game back after Lee died, and I thought they conducted themselves in a fantastically respectful fashion. And I'm not sure whether I said, you know, thank them for that, but if I haven't, you know, I thank them for, you know, from the bottom. That was the toughest day. And he's a good coach. You can see he recruits well. His sides are always competitive. There's nothing easy, and they're tight games, very, very compact games. The pitch is always quite compact when the two teams play. Luke and I are probably quite similar characters on the touchline, quite vocal, animated. And if we approach the game in the same way we approached last Saturday, we're in for a bad afternoon. So you have to go there with your eyes wide open.
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, you look at their form, I don't know how much you want to study their form, but they've lost their first game, didn't they, last time out in the league? So does that mean anything to you guys going into this one, that they suffered their first defeat in the league last time out?
No. I think because of the makeup of our squad, I think we're always going to have to keep focusing on them and their individual development, their individual performances, the team's performance, the team's harmony or togetherness. I think we've got so much to work on. I mean, so much. You know, these young players, they're here right now for those reasons, and they've come here for that exposure, that development, and that's the team and the squad that we've been able to assemble. And we've seen at times how exciting that might be. We also saw last week, and I thought we were poor last week, but I don't think we was too far away from, you know, a good side, a manly team. I mean, you know, they had so many Football League appearances on that pitch. It was frightening. But I thought we were competitive. I know we made mistakes, but I think we're getting closer and closer, and we just got to keep working on us. And it might be, this group might be a group that kicks on in January, from January onwards, when they've found their feet, they've found their legs. You know, I sat with Charlie Wakefield last Thursday. It's the first time he's played 5 games in a row in senior football. So these are all new things for these people. They haven't got that benefit of experience or foresight, and they're seeing it for the first time. So, you know, for me it's great because they're very excitable, very energetic, but we also need to make sure that I need to make sure that I leave them on a Saturday in the correct manner. And what I saw last Saturday was too many poor body language. I said this after the game, and that can come across so badly. You can look disinterested, demotivated, de-energised, and they're all the characteristics that you'd really kind of look at the manager and say, you know, that's your responsibility, Darren, to put them in the right frame of mind, and it absolutely is. And that was a really interesting learning curve for these new ones, because, you know, I can reflect back on last week and see some breadcrumbs maybe or some evidence of why that might be. So we're learning all the time, and we've been great away from home so far. I mean, if you want to look at form, we've been very, very strong, and we certainly intend on being strong Saturday. And like I said, if you go to Boreham, you know, without your eyes wide open, you can come a cropper. So I think it's really important, our preparation this week.
Yeah. Tom Mills just told us that you're a manager that likes to do streaks by one, was not really thinking about you're on a winning streak or a losing streak, and just focus on each game as it comes along. Is that what you see, what you were just alluding to then, really, about having the team developing, and that's part of the development, really? Again, they're seeing all these things for the first time, and I have the benefit of hindsight and experience and foresight, so I think that's really important, that we carry on developing at a steady rate. Can't expect them to go from 0 to 100 in 2 months, 3 months, or in 5 games, more importantly. We've got to make sure that we're balanced, and I'm having to work really hard this year on the way we manage these players. There's no Charlie Lee. They're completely different people. They're men. They've had life experience. They've seen all sorts of weird and wonderful things in football. We're now dealing with, Knowlesy, for example, and Daniel Moss and Jordan Barnett and players like that. So they're all new to these things. So we're having to adapt our style as well, Terry and I, and talk with the devil, and it's tough at times because you're fighting what's become like an organic and natural thing. But we've got to do what's right by the players. We've got to make sure we get them absolutely where we think we need them to be, and hopefully it's the post and goes in. We all get them wrong and we all get them right sometimes. So it's a bit of a flip of a coin in some moments. Yeah. Good luck, Darren. Thanks for your time.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hey Darren, how you doing?
Right.
Yeah,
Promoted, yeah?
Yeah, because I'm here.
Yeah, promoted. Yeah.
So you had a goal disallowed on Saturday. In the second half, it looks like you had more of the better chances.
Yeah.
Was it a case of you were nearly there on Saturday, despite the body language and things you did?
Absolutely, but I think we've either got to go. We've either got to go one way or the other with this squad. I think if we constantly just make reference to we were close, they're a good side, they've got this, they've got. I think if we go down that road, I think we leave too much disparity for excuse. You know, it becomes that kind of a culture, and I just want to make sure that they are performing to the best of their ability. We've already seen very, very early signs that, you know, if they can be at their very best and be very together as a team, very much in harmony as a team, they're not bad. We're okay. You know, I think we've got reason to be upbeat. I think we've got reason to be upbeat that we know in the future, Little comes back in the team, maybe. Maybe a confident mark. Reed comes back in the team, maybe. And players like that. So I think, I think round the corner is quite an exciting time. But what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that when we get to that point where we can turn the corner and Little comes back and Reedy comes back, that we're in a good enough position where that's going to really make a noticeable difference. But I've already seen in the recent weeks the expectation because of the performance and result at Stockport has gone too high, too fast, too quickly, and we've got to be balanced because, you know, whether they're senior players or young players, the 5th division has 5th division level quality, and that naturally brings inconsistency. And it does. That's why we're all the same as me. It's no different why I'm the manager here, and we're very humbled by that. But you know, we've got to be nice and steady with this group. It's not going to be like a rocket ship, and it's not going to be sort of down in the dumps and huge troughs. We've just got to be nice and consistent. We've got a plan. We know what we are. We've got an identity, and we've just got to build on that and build on individual performances within the team.
And obviously we were unfortunate to lose Wilkinson at the weekend. Firstly, is there an update on him, and just how disruptive is that with kind of your first change to the back four this season?
Hugely. I was getting used to writing the same team sheet. Now Luke, we're still waiting really on clarity in terms of time, but he definitely won't be available for Saturday. He won't be available for Saturday, so you know I'm not going to moan about it this year. But it's a bloody big problem. So, but look, we got to get people ready to be at their very best. Whether they're 30 years old or 20 years old, they've got to be at their very best. Last night was a chance to get time into people's legs to make them physically better, so that when they've got to be thrown into the lion's den, that they're as physically well equipped as possible. And anyone who leads a life that involves some sort of fitness will know that when you feel at your fittest, there's a natural confidence about you anyway. So you know, we've always tried to work that here, and try and get people as fit as possible. And obviously this is a group now with really great athletic properties. All the slow old men have just been tossed to one side because they can't keep up. But you know, we've got some brilliant athletes here.
And touching on Wednesday, it looked like it was a good mix of first teams and a couple of youngsters, and it was good to see Sonny on the score sheet. Was there anyone who really stood out for you on last night?
I was really pleased with the young players. And I know we said young, that was pretty much everyone, apart from Maddie. I was really pleased with the boys that came out of the college programme. I thought they were brilliant. Ollie Haste, I thought, was magnificent. You know, talk about stand up to the moment and the opportunity, and he, you know, again, we've got to be balanced. I'm not saying he's going to roll out Saturday and play for the first team, but in terms of him and the experience I was able to give him, he'll remember that for the rest of his life. It doesn't matter if he plays higher than this now or lower than this now, he'll remember that night. And the same with young Jake Graciano. They cope brilliantly, absolutely brilliant. Thing obviously come on and scored, and then as soon as the game was out of sight, as you could see, I just tried to get a few on, and give them that kind of that taste of it. But you know, regardless of whether we've got an academy or not, I really love giving young people that opportunity to smell what the life is like, because if that can help inspire them to be any better, whether they want to go on and be physios or sports scientists or coaches or anything like that, I want them to taste what football can be like. And you know, there'll be a few of those young lads last night that would have gone home and I wouldn't have thought they'd been too much sleeping. They'd have been probably wired and up with the adrenaline of being out there. So I thought it was great. I thought Bridgewater were great. I thought they were conducting themselves in a really professional fashion. I thought the fans were brilliant. I mean, they were absolutely brilliant. I think a group of them told me that I had about 20 things to work on Monday morning. I don't think they realised it was Wednesday night and should have been Thursday morning, but I thought they were brilliant. And that's why we do these games seriously, and it's important the players know that the manager does it seriously, and it's important that the players know they've got, you know, I've already made their mind up that they're doing it properly. So no, really great for those young people and for the new academy program, if you like, of what we now work towards, that they can see that if they give everything, and remember I'm a product of those types of programs, if they give everything to that time, it doesn't matter how good or bad they are, they can really have a wonderful experience and maybe open many doors in their life.
That's great. Thanks, Aaron. Good luck for Saturday.
Yeah.
Me now then.
Too many jokes came in my head there. You get the pause. You see the awkward pause.
Darren, I thought last week, first 20 minutes, I thought anyway, was going your way, and apart from this sort of up with the goal that wasn't, as far as you were concerned, I thought you were doing enough to had you scored that goal, I think you could have gone on the game. What do you think? Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, I think it's even James had a lovely chat with James Rowe after the game, and I think we was all kind of in agreement that if we'd have got that one, even at 2-0, I mean, we can talk about the disallowed goal till we're blue in the face, but I think if we'd have got that goal back early in the second half and we really sort of applied pressure, then you know it'd have been a difficult last moment for them. And I thought the game pretty much hinged on Wilkinson coming off and then Gunning coming off for Chesterfield, because probably the two biggest leaders on the pitch, biggest characters, most experienced. And I thought that changed the dynamic for their respective team. I was just so much, you know, there are so many things. I say this to the young, our players all the time, old or young, there are so many things to be scared of in this life. Going out and playing football on a Saturday is not one of them. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. There should never be any fear going down that tunnel and competing. And second half, we just kind of hopefully took a little bit of that fear away from them. I wanted them to show a little bit more, and we talked about body language all the time, and we've addressed that with some of the players this week, and how body language comes about and the science behind it. And I wanted to address that because I don't like seeing that. It doesn't matter how many courses I've been on or how many years I've been, you know, practicing coaching and things like that. I want to see players who are really invested, emotionally invested in their performance, in their team, in their football club. And I didn't see that from enough first half. I thought I saw it from a few more second half. And I thought the performance improved because of that. But I thought it improved because we kind of reduced fear, tried to, you know, reassure them that it'd be okay. There's nothing to be afraid of. Go and play your best version of yourself and your best game, and let's see if we can get the place rocking. And I think if we'd have scored that goal, Joe had a chance again from a header. Knowlesy had a really good chance. At one point we had 6 corners in a row, and you got to give Chesterfield credit, because I think the really good teams, irrespective of their performance between the boxes, they're brilliant in the boxes. Absolutely brilliant in the boxes. And I thought Chesterfield were very good in the boxes Saturday, and just be honest, and you got to hold your hand up. We weren't good enough in the boxes, and we certainly weren't good enough in the first half in our own one, and in the second half in their one. I thought we limited, or we denied a lot of goal scoring opportunities for Chesterfield second half just by having a little bit of a clearer mind and perspective on the game. But look, it's not to be. It was a disappointing one off the back of a really disappointing one, particularly off the back of Stockport. But again, it allowed me to see a few things in the week aid where maybe individuals need X and Y when I see certain trends, and we'll be better off for going through that process, definitely.
Does it kind of highlight the fact that this when you're on top, they say if you score a goal when you're on top,
absolutely,
and if you don't take your chances, then you're going to suffer for it. I mean, it kind of highlights.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we had the first 10, then we gave them 10. We had the 10, then they had 10 first half, and in their periods of play, in their passages of play, they score goals, and you can't begrudge the opponent of that. We just have to do better. We have to do better when we're in our moments of momentum, and we have to do better defensively in our moments of pressure. But I saw that half almost as a one-off, really, because the performances have been good. The attitude of the players has been magnificent. Physically, they're in great shape, the ones that can play. But we learn and we move forward. Everyone knows our supporters aren't silly. Everyone knows it's a young team, it's a small squad. We're trying our best. We're not ever looking to make excuses. We're only ever looking at ourselves. And we'll push forward.
You mentioned Luke Wilkerson earlier. I mean, how serious is the injury? Is it a potentially long one, or is it just a sort of a run-of-the-mill hamstring strain or something?
Yeah, I think it's run-of-the-mill. We're just looking for a little bit of clarity really now from the specialists about maybe time spans, but it looks to me very similar, ironically, to what Lee Collins had in his spell with us, but recovery times differentiate, so we'll look to that. Like I said, he definitely won't be available Saturday, and we'll prepare appropriately without him. But I wish I could say it's going to be 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 10 weeks, but I don't know right now.
Any news ending? I hear there's a bit of a dispute going on. Is he ever likely to arrive back at Yeovil or not?
Who's that?
Albie Skendi.
You heard what, mate? Sorry, you cut out.
So I said I heard that there's a bit of a problem with Albie Skendi. Is he likely to ever come back to the club?
Well, the problem is that he's not at the club.
well, yeah, quite.
And look, I've got nothing against Albie. It's his, like I've always said, it's his life. He's got to live his life how he sees it. But he's not here.
Yeah.
So
quite. No, but I heard that he's desperate to stay in America or something. So obviously that.
Well, if he's desperate,
that doesn't bode very well from Yeovil's point of view.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's not here, and in these. When you start a season, especially at somewhere like Yeovil, where everyone has to live together and congregate, and very little sort of downtime, where especially with our younger group, not many of them have got families in terms of their own kids or wives and things like that. So there's very little downtime. There's very little breaks in their sort of contact with each other.
You didn't take the money. I didn't want to miss you this week. You didn't take the money last week.
Right, I'm on the radio here.
So I don't think Ollie has to part of that. But
sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really simple one. If he wants to stay in America, he stays in America.
Yeah.
Well, Yeovil's not a slave trade. He stays in America. If he wants to stay in America, stay in America. He's registered to us.
Okay.
Contractually, he's still got a contract with us. There are obviously certain, elements of those terms and conditions that they kind of mean you have to be here, like in any employment contract. But he's still registered with us. Yeah, it does. But I've got nothing against Al, nothing whatsoever. It's his life, and life's too short to, first of all for Albie to not make the decision that he's making, but also for me to worry about someone who's not here. He'll always have a friend in me. I've got, like I said, I've got no gripe with him in any way, shape or form. So, but if he wants to stay out there, he can stay out there. But I really don't know, because I've become very good in my old age of only really concentrating on things that affect us. And there's so many of these players need our time and attention that are here and are going out down the tunnel every week into battle, that I think they deserve that attention probably more so than those that aren't here right now.
Finally, there is a strong rumour based down here, rumour mill, that's the word I should be looking for, that a major announcement is going to be made this week regarding the club's future. Did you know anything about that?
Absolutely not. Nothing. No idea.
Right. Fair enough. But sometimes you can ask these questions.
What's the rumour?
Well, that somebody's been found to buy it.
Oh, really?
Well, that's what the rumour is, but I mean, rumours are often wrong, aren't they?
I don't know, you asked the question. I don't know. No, I've no idea, Ray. Honestly, I'm not on social media. Why would I go on social media? I mean, social media is like, for a manager, I don't know why people would ever go on there. I know there are a lot of Premier League managers who go on social media, but the agencies that they're attached to, they control all of the ins and outs of what goes in and what goes out. So, the manager doesn't even read it. But if I went on social media, I bet I'd just get slaughtered morning, noon and night. So.
Afternoon, Darren. David here from the Glover's Cast. Not quite social media, but a podcast nevertheless. But,
how are you, David? You well?
I'm doing all right.
I actually listened to one of your podcasts the other night.
Oh, did you? You are a listener, are you? What did you think?
Well, I listened to that one. It came up. I don't know how it came up, but it came up on Google when I was searching. I was actually looking at our fixtures, and I saw it come up. And I think it was after the Stockport game, maybe. So it might have been 10 days ago now.
Okay.
A week ago, something like that. But no, very good.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, hopefully we'll have you listening in after this weekend. We can talk about another win, eh?
Yeah, I won't be listening.
Right.
I'm only playing. But I won't be.
Well, after the game on Saturday, you were talking obviously about Luke Wilkinson.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you could possibly look to recruit, you could possibly look to cover the gap with what you had. Do we take it from last night's appearance of Morgan Williams and Max Hunt that you're maybe looking to cover with what you've got for the weekend rather than recruiting?
I think we're always recruiting. I'm always recruiting. I've said this repeatedly. My job is to always ask for more, irregardless of the squad's kind of state and what we desperately need or what we don't need. Or I'm always asking. I think that's the job of the manager. The job of the chairman is to say yes or no. So that's easy. But my job is to always try and push the boundaries of performance, and so I'm always recruiting in that sense. That we all know we haven't got many. We all know we could, in an ideal world, we could do with probably 3 or 4 more. But that's not my duty. My duty is to present the options, and the football recruitment market is like it's like being a trader, where stocks and shares inflate and recess and things like that. It's important that I know the market and what is and what isn't available. I've got to say right now, centre halves are at a premium, and when I've got into the market, since the beginning of the season, a lot of Football League clubs in particular are petrified of COVID, like we all are, and letting players out on loan. Obviously, then if they go into some sort of COVID situation of 2 or 3 players having COVID, where there's not enough really to suspend the game or postpone the game, they're almost leaving themselves short. So I've got to say, most managers are, quite rightly so, self-preservating and keeping everyone around. So the centre-half market, I would say, is quite poor. There are still options out there in midfield. There are still options in our own squad that we can use. I'd have loved to have seen a little bit more of Jack Robinson up until now, because I think he's a fabulous passer of the ball, brilliant passer of the ball, good guy, strong personality. Would like to have seen him. His injury kind of disrupted that, but it was good to see him last night. We're planning a first team game next Tuesday against a Football League side to carry on getting minutes, because for some daft reason we can't get a game next Saturday, and we'll carry on recruiting. I mean, you know, I think the most important thing when we're trying to recruit now is we try and recruit some sort of experience. If it's not, you know, I'm not saying 34, 35, you know, I'm not saying Dagnall, I think he was 36 when he signed. We say, you know, just someone who's had some game time, some Football League experience. So I think that's important. And then I think we're never really here, when I look at my time here in recruitment, we're not really privileged in being able to say we need X, Y, they need to look like this and this in terms of physicality or technical ability. We really are at the mercy of what is available and what we can bring in at that time financially. So it's a bit of a chancer's market almost this year, and you just got to be ready to strike. So if there's something ready, if there's something out there that we feel will benefit us, then I think we'll do that. I think going back to the centre half thing, centre half permutations, we've obviously got a brilliant guy in Josh Staunton, who is, his trade is central defence, and he's played in midfield over time because he's a small fella, and you know, we've got that option as well. So there's so many ifs, buts and maybes that I think you've just got to be ready to strike whilst the iron's hot.
Okay. You mentioned about experience there. Just looking at Boreham before the game, they've got the oldest squad in the division, and you've got the second youngest in the division.
Who's younger than us?
Obviously includes like
Altrincham, he's going to say.
Altrincham.
Currently, but
Altrincham was that.
Mark Little, that includes Ruben Reid, that includes Aldershot.
Oh, Aldershot, sorry.
Aldershot, the youngest, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, a bit of a delay on the line here. But yeah, so, I mean, what role can some of the older heads you've got in your squad, the likes of Mark Little, the likes of Ruben Reid, what can they do to help prepare the younger players and help the younger players when they are facing these experienced sides like you will this weekend?
Well, look, I think a lot of it with young people is reassurance. It's a reassurance that, you know, they've got an opportunity, they're going to be backed in their opportunity. You know, young players are normally scapegoats, last to be thought of, inconsistent, used when the options are starting to dwindle. For us, they are the key part of our team. And we've just got to back them and keep backing them and keep persevering. And you know, it's such an important role the supporters play for us, because if they get a sense of not just one or two comments, but if they get a sense or an aura of negativity in the ground, that's not going to help us this year. They're not Reece Murphy. Reece Murphy would just stick his fingers up and just carry on playing. They're not like this. That they haven't seen this yet. So you know, the role of the supporters this year is huge. And when if I got Wakefield, Barnett, Morgan Williams, Dan Moss, if I brought any of those new young players into the press conference now and said what has been your best experience so far, they'd undoubtedly say Aldershot away or Stockport away, because the connection with the supporters and the love and the support they felt from that will stay with them. That's all it is. We're all human beings. We all pretty much think relatively similarly, and you know, they will thrive off those moments. But the role of the supporter now is huge. in making these players lift and want to lift and go faster, go quicker, be better, do it again. So I think we've got to they have a massive role. In terms of Mark is so immersed now in his rehab. You know, he will be there as a mentor type figure in the dressing room during the week and on game day, and Ruben as well. Ruben's one of the most charismatic, influential people that I've worked with. You know, and he has a massive influence on the way people feel and think, even to the coaching staff and the manager. The first thing Ruben said to me on Saturday after the game was, "That's not a weekend ruiner, that one, Gaffer. That's we're not bad." I thought, okay, that's a different way of looking at it, and maybe not seeing it like that. So, you know, we try and use all of the ingredients at our disposal to embellish performance, and it's all about winning. You know, it's all about getting those ingredients into place and getting people informed where they can go out and win week in, week out. And maybe, you know, like I said, this group could be a slow burner. It could, from Saturday, you know, rocket into the sky. But that's the thing with young, inexperienced, unproven players. No one knows. I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball. You certainly don't know. Terry won't have an idea. But that's the exciting bit, right? The exciting bit is we could be on the cusp of something great. We could be on the cusp of something not great. But they're going to try hard. I can guarantee that. They're going to absolutely give it their all.
Absolutely. And that's all with our supporters, I think. But you mentioned there Mark in the recovery.
Yeah, Mark's at a stage now. I think he's got one more. I think Mark.
Sorry, have I lost you there?
You got me back now. Can you hear me, David? Yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you. I've got you.
Good man. I think Mark's at a stage now. He's got one more consultation with his surgeon. It might be today. It might actually be tonight. And then hopefully that will then determine a lot of his progress from now. But once Mark's out of that boot and weight bearing again, he'll fly. He'll absolutely fly. The guy is a consummate professional, incredible standards, very driven. He's very different to senior players I've worked with, Mark, because he still sees so much in front of him. That's a wonderful kind of characteristic to have, because he still sees so much more of his career to be played and so much more to achieve. And I think that's great. You know, you can get some senior players that recognise the end is near. And they kind of hold on. Mark never sees it like that. Mark is very much a driving force. So I actually think once he gets his foot down, he'll probably exceed time spans. I can see that happening.
Okay, great. And just last question. The Cambridge manager, Mark Bonner, was saying in the week that he was expecting Lewis Simper to be back in training with us this week or next week, I think he said. Is that your understanding of the timeline for Lewis?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think Monday earliest. I'd probably expect maybe next Thursday. Maybe he could be back in with us, which will be good. Obviously, we didn't see a great deal of Lewis. We saw him in training. Brilliant kid. I mean, the best kid ever. I mean, trust me, if your daughter brought Lewis Simper home, you'd sleep well at night. So it's brilliant guy, brilliant guy, and I very much look forward to having him back with the team.